Welcome to the Missionaries Podcast. Stories from the mission field to learn and enjoy. Your hosts for today are Martin and Esther.
And welcome everybody to this new podcast. The topic for today is... Oh, Esther. Okay, this was Esther's drum roll.
Yes.
Which is actually a good...
it's a very exciting thing to know
it
the
is.
topic of this podcast.
And it does fit the topic, since the topic is learn to laugh at yourself. Oh, come on. That's too cheesy. Learn to laugh at yourself. Esther, why is this so important when you're a missionary?
Oh, it's so important because you will have so many fails and most of them are actually quite funny if you think about it. The problem is when you take it too personally, you're going to be in a very big dip.
Yep.
And that's not necessary because, come on, you can laugh at it and use it as a communication tool with others as well.
Yeah, and even if you say, well, I'll never fail, which everybody's making mistakes, so you might as well laugh about it.
Yeah.
But the mission field is not always a happy mission field. Sometimes it's very tough. It's plowing the fields, shoveling manure.
Yeah, standing in the rain, in the mud.
It is tough, and it helps so much if you can just laugh at your own silly mistakes. It is so much fun. And if you can do that, and you might... Well, first of all, if you understand that this is how it works, it can help you. It can help you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know that's gonna help you, if you can't laugh about yourself, it is going to be very, very, very tough.
Yeah, life is too serious anyway.
It is. Yeah, it is. So, yeah, that being said, we're just going to talk about all the silly mistakes that we made.
Yep.
And through that, try to teach you a little bit that it's fun to make silly mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. Esther, you want to start off, or should I start? What's your idea?
Yes, I'm thinking, what should I start with?
Should I start?
Yeah.
I've got a great one.
Okay, go ahead.
It was on one of my first mission trips. I'm not sure if I had a car. And that, if I had a car or not, then I know if I was 18, 19 or 17, 18. But I was young.
You were young.
I was young, way too young. I was at that age that you think you know everything, but I didn't know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was my first mission trip. It was a real mission trip. They had a Bible study every morning for all the team members. A serious Bible study. The pastor from that church really did prepare the Bible studies. And they asked me to translate from English to Dutch, from Dutch to English. And I was way too young. But for one of the other reasons, they thought that I knew it. So, well, good luck with you. And then he had a sermon on all humans are made up of flesh and bones, just like any other living being. Jesus was just a human being like you and me, made out of flesh and bones. And I had to translate it, and I translated it into Dutch. No, I translated it from Dutch to English.
Yeah.
And I translated it as in some sort of, all humans are made of meat and bones.
Nom, nom, nom.
Well, meat is what the butcher has.
Yep.
And
let's start the barbecue.
Yeah. So, and everybody started laughing. And I was like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Why is everybody laughing? I mean, and laughing out loud. I mean, they were rolling on the floor.
Yeah, well, in Dutch, there's no difference between those two. There's only one word for them.
There's only one word.
Yeah.
But in English, flesh and meat are two different things. I mean, meat is what's going on. That's what on top of the barbecue.
Yep.
And flesh is what you have. But everybody was laughing. I just did not have a clue.
Yeah.
And they tried to explain it to me, but I was just blank.
Yeah.
Totally
No
flatlined.
idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
So in retrospect, oh man, it's one of those lost in translation thingies.
Mm-hmm.
At that moment, though, it was I just didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't get it.
No, and that is partly the fun of it. I mean,
Well, if you're not too serious, if you're not too, I want to be 100% perfect at this, then it's a lot of fun.
mm-hmm.
But if your character is, I want to be 100% perfect and I cannot make mistakes, let alone in translating a Bible study, which is serious stuff. If you're like that, if you want to be 100% perfect and you make mistakes like this, it can be awkward. And you can even maybe come to the point that you're hurting yourself, although it shouldn't be hurtful at all. It's just laugh it off. I mean, let's get it over with.
Yeah.
So that's one of the examples where I would say, if you can laugh at yourself, go for it.
Yeah.
It makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, everybody was, they had a great time.
Everyone had fun.
Yeah, everybody had
Yeah.
fun. I just didn't have a clue.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like a deer in the headlights. I was just standing there like,
Light.
okay,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So that was funny. Yeah, well, you live, you learn. Yeah, so that's one of my silly mistakes.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I have one, and it's one that you were not so happy about.
Oh, come on, tell me.
So we are invited for a wedding,
That
which is
one.
quite special because it was a wedding from a guy from Ukraine and a girl from Belarus. So that's special, and it's a cultural thing.
This
we
is
as
highly
Dutch-
cultural.
And we as Dutch people are invited to come the whole day. We had no idea what
That's
to
huge.
expect.
Yeah.
If there would be a church service there. It was one location, and in the Netherlands you have a church, you go for the service, then a select group goes for dinner or lunch, and then you have the party.
Yeah.
But not everyone is invited for everything.
No.
And we were invited for the whole day. Well, at least the start was 13:30.
Well, that's the thing.
So
I didn't
we
even
had
have a clue. Were we
No.
invited for the church service or
We had
for the
no
whole day?
idea.
We didn't have a clue.
this is the address, and it starts at 1:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we guessed that it was highly cultural.
Mm-hmm.
They had a dress code,
Yes, serious business.
and
man.
I'm wearing shorts today. I mean, those are my normal.
Yeah, no go.
I mean,
for a wedding.
my normal sweater is a Cookie Monster sweater.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't allowed in the wedding, so I get that. So I actually had to buy some serious clothing.
Yeah.
Man, I looked old in that.
So, and the date was a little bit, bit bad for us because we were on holiday actually, and we had to come home earlier to go to this wedding. And the invitation also was in Russian language. So we come home a few days early from holiday because of this wedding. We have one day between coming home and the wedding day, so prepare. Well, you know, when you come home from holiday, it's chaos with laundry and everything.
Yeah.
So I was checking the time on the card because I didn't want to be too late.
Well, that's another thing.
You cannot do that.
In the Netherlands, you'll never be late.
Exactly.
You'll be there at least 10 minutes before.
Yeah, and it was a location we didn't know, so
Yeah.
we had to drive for like
to look it up.
40 minutes, something like that, 45. So in time, we left on that Tuesday to go to this wedding. So we're all dressed up. We're going there. It took a while to find the location.
Yep.
It was near a beach and there were different places, but eventually we found it. And actually, there was a building and there was an outside tent.
Yep.
And the building had a poster on it in Polish, like, you cannot be here because there's a party
Yeah.
planned.
So in context, we're Dutch. We're living in Poland right now.
Mhm.
And this wedding was between a guy and a girl from Belarus.
And Ukraine.
And the other was Ukrainian.
Yeah.
So talk about a complete mix-up with cultures.
Yeah. So the language that was spoken that day was Russian.
The country is Polish.
Yeah, the country is Polish. So we're in the Polish location. But we found the place 10
Hooray.
minutes early.
Hooray
So,
for us.
yes, we did it.
Check.
So we go into the building, which has a poster on the door, like, don't come in because there's a party. We're like, well, we're part of the party, so
Check.
let's have a look. And the weird thing is there's no one there.
Nope.
The building is empty. The tables are stuck in a corner. All chairs are on top of each other.
Lights were off.
Lights were
The
off.
door was open though.
The door was open, so we could enter. So we were like, well, I have no idea. Maybe this is like the party starts outside, and then
And there was nobody
things
inside.
going on outside. People will prepare inside or something. We had no idea. So hey, but strange that we don't recognize anyone that's walking around here. That was weird.
Well, the other thing was, maybe, I mean, we're Dutch, so we'll be there on time.
Yeah.
But we do not know exactly what is the culture in Belarus or Ukrainian or
Well,
in
our
Poland.
experience says that it's okay to come 15 minutes late.
Yeah. So we were like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
nobody's here, but they'll show
Yeah.
up. But 15
So-
minutes later, still nobody.
So there's chairs outside the building,
Right.
so we're going to sit there. We see a little bit further a party tent with chairs and benches and stuff, and a coffee machine. So, and there's also this poster like, there, don't come here because there's a
For the
party. So
party.
like, yeah, so this is also for us. But that's a bit weird that there's no one in the tent. Anyway, we found some chairs. We sit outside the building and waiting until someone comes.
Well, and then a Polish guy showed up and
Yeah.
we showed him the card.
But yeah, the card was in Russian.
Yeah.
And we don't speak a lot of Polish. So he was like, I was like, wedding.
Yeah.
And he was like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he walked off.
He was gone.
So we're sitting there waiting. 13:15, 13:20. Well, still done before time. 13:30. Okay, now I get a little bit scared because the card said 13:30. At least I thought. So
Yeah.
I took the invitation with me.
The time
So
did check out.
thank God I took it with me.
Yeah.
So I'll check again the time. It says 13:13.
Yeah.
So we're there in time. So maybe they get a little bit late. You never know. Huh? Maybe they come from
Yeah,
church
could-
now and they're with the whole party and
Yeah.
they come with 10 cars and then the whole party starts. I have no idea. So we wait another 5 minutes and another 5 minutes.
Oh, and it was warm.
It was hot.
I mean, we were dressed for battle.
Yeah.
We were dressed for, all options on, officially dressed.
Yeah.
And the temperature was like microwave.
Yeah. The only thing you
humidity.
wanted to wear was your swimming suit
It
and
was
go
like-
into the water.
Everybody was in swimming suits at the
Yeah.
beach, and we were there in full body armor.
Yeah.
Man, it was hot.
Well, people laughed at us anyway.
Oh, yeah, they did.
So, anyway, we're still waiting there. And it's 15 minutes later. And now I get really scared.
Yeah,
Because at
yeah.
least one person that we know should be there. So I check again the time. I mean, how many times have I checked the time?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
20, 30, 40, 50
Yeah.
times.
The one thing-
time is still okay.
The one thing that you didn't check was...
The date. So I made a mistake in the date. It said 15th of August instead of 13th of August. So we were 2 days early.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, so at least we had a great rehearsal.
So we made a picture and we sent it to the sister of the bride. Like, ha ha ha, we're already here. Where are you guys? We'll come again 2 days later. And they were like, and that was so cute. They were like insecure and wondering if we were like insulted because of that they didn't give us enough information or were not clear enough. And I was like, oh no, it's just like, I need to check my eyes. I need to get glasses
Yeah,
for reading.
Well, you actually do. Yeah.
So that was so funny.
Yeah, and it's stuff
Yeah.
like that. If you can laugh about it, it's so much fun. If you
Yeah.
can make jokes about yourself, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But if you're serious, then it starts to get really stressy.
Yeah.
And if possible, you don't want to go there.
Mhm.
You don't want to go there. I've got another one.
Okay.
I've got another
Let's
one.
hit it.
I was living in the States for a missionary organization, and in week 1 or 2, they invited us for a retreat thingy with the whole
Mhm.
team. And they sent me on my own in an old and crappy, typically missionary van, busted up, dents all over the place.
Yep.
There were not even mirrors on that van. And it's one of those vans that you see in a bad B movie when they kidnap people. The sliding door opens and they just pull you in. It's one
Yeah.
of those typical
And then they find the bus somewhere burning. Yeah.
one of
that
those
one.
vans. So it looked really terrible. And they sent me on my way with supplies for the retreat. And they said, well, if you can go there, so all the stuff is there before we show up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I don't know, it was 2-hour, 3-hour drive, something like that. And I just arrived from the Netherlands and the States. So cultural, you think that it's the same, but it is not at all. So after 2.5 hours of driving, I saw a sign on the left side of the road, retreat, blah, blah, blah. But I just passed it. I was going, as usual, too fast. So, I mean, we're Dutch. I mean, we hit the, back in those days, we hit the accelerator.
Young.
Oh, yeah.
Young
Young
and
and
wild.
wild.
Honest, you were young and wild.
Young and wild. So, well, I was too late. So I drove a little bit further. Then I saw on the right side of the road, I saw a dirt road going into the woods. And the retreat was in the middle of the woods. So imagine this, you're driving in the middle of some sort of forest area.
Mm-hmm.
You have a dirt road going into the woods. And I thought, okay, let's just pull a little bit further. Then I'll back it on. Then I'll back it on, back it off.
Back it. Yeah.
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 Throw my car in
it up.
reverse.
I don't
That's
know.
the one. And I'll just reverse it into this dirt road, blah, blah, blah. So I put it in reverse, started driving. And then I thought, hey, I don't have mirrors. So I can't see where I'm going if I'll back it up in this driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? I'll just gun it and we'll see. It'll be great. It didn't. I drove my back wheel into a ditch.
Oh.
So the car started to balance on two wheels.
Oh.
And it felt like it was about to fall over into the ditch.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh dear Lord, I'm just here. And if I'll
And
start,
you're alone.
I was
in the
alone.
Woods, in this van.
In this van.
Oh my goodness.
First couple of weeks in the US, totally different culture. And the van felt like if I'll move, it's going to tip over.
Mm-hmm.
It is good. So I'm not going to move. I'm just going to pray my socks off. Don't move. And, well, that. At the very same moment, I hear behind me a car pulling up. Like them big V8 hillbilly truck thingies.
Mm-hmm.
A noise. Oh, man.
And you couldn't see because you didn't
couldn't
have
see
a
it.
mirror.
I only had the noise. So I didn't have a clue what car it was. But it was a lot of noise. And I was like, oh, crap. I'm in his driveway. And he's not going to be happy about this.
Mm-hmm.
Then I heard a loud bang on the side of my van. And I was like, oh, what? And then a guy was next to my window. I rolled it down very slowly since if you move, it's going to top over.
Uh-huh.
And this guy was, hillbilly plus. A wood chopper vest thingy, a beard. Man, Moses had a smaller beard. 6 feet, 6 foot 2, 3, 4, 5. He was big.
Mm-hmm.
And then he opened his mouth and said, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to get killed. He's going to slaughter me. And they're going to find me in the back of this van in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is going to kill me. And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, just smile and just pretend that you know what he's saying. Well, I think it was Alabama. So it was indeed hillbilly. Well, you know what it is. And then he just walked off. He started this monstrosity of a car, van. I don't have a clue what it was since I couldn't see it. And he just pulled up next to me, went through the other ditch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he did it. He just gunned it and parked his car in front of my van. And it was one of them pickup trucks.
Yeah.
And he had an axe in the back and a chainsaw.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yep, he's
There I
gonna kill
go.
me. This is the end. Thank you, Lord, for sending me
They find
to...
in pieces in the
And
woods.
this is it. And he got out of his pickup truck, got this big, huge chain. I mean, you could use it on a ship. I mean, that it was a monstrosity. And he hooked it up to the underside of my van, hooked it up to his pickup truck, and then he gunned it. He just full blast, and a huge jerk underneath my van, and it was out of the ditch. But underneath the van, man, it made a noise like World War III that just started underneath my van. And I was like, yeah, just great. But hey, at least I was out of the ditch.
Yeah.
And he came back to my car and once again said, and I was like, yeah, sure. You want me to pay? And he just left. And I was just stunned. But hey, at least I was out of the ditch. So then I drove the van to the retreat, which was 1 block down. But the van pulled to the left. Oh, man. He hooked it up to the steering rack or something like that. At least not into one of those hitch points thingies. But this van, man, it pulled to the left. Terrible. So I showed up at that retreat and everybody was like, hey, why are you should be here before us, not now. And I was like, yeah, well, had a little trouble.
Yeah, the van is pulling.
But I don't know what the van is doing, but it's pulling to the left. I don't know what it is. And that mission group was very serious. Making mistakes, no way. Making jokes, no way. They were serious.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, yeah, if I'm going to tell them that some sort of wrecked the van, that's not going to be great. So that was awkward. And in retrospect, I mean, it's one of the best stories ever. How to get killed on a mission trip within 2 weeks. But only if I could have laughed it off, and only if they were like, yeah, I mean, yeah, great story, bro. You're still alive. Take the picture. That would have helped a lot.
Yeah.
But for one or the other reason, the atmosphere was not there at all. And that didn't help.
No.
So if you can laugh about yourself, laugh with your team members. Hey, stuff happens. I mean, hey, come on, make a picture, and enjoy it.
Yeah, and instead of increasing the stress, you then decrease the stress that you had, and
there you go.
It's not so serious.
And
it's
there
okay.
you go.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that just helps a lot. Not just for you, but also for your team members. You will run into cultural mishaps, funny stuff. It will happen.
Yeah.
And you might as well enjoy it. Take a picture, print it on a t-shirt, and enjoy it. It's a great story for your prayer letters.
Yeah.
Everybody will laugh at you. Don't be too serious. So that's one of my examples.
Yeah.
Esther, you've got another one?
Yeah, some language things.
Okay, go.
So I went as a missionary to Russia, which I had to learn Russian language. Well, what Russian language has that our language doesn't have at all is the female and male.
Oh yeah, that doesn't exist in the Netherlands. It's not there.
And even verbs, they get a different ending when it's female or male. Yeah. So you called me, you can say if it's a he or a she that called you. Yeah. Even though he's standing next to you. So my teacher was female. I was female. So I always, I lived in the house with a girl, so that was female. So normally I would always use female form.
Yeah.
I was in a band and the leader of the band was a guy.
Okay.
And I always made mistakes with him because I always said to him female form. And he got always so angry. And I was like, yeah, but you called me a female form. And he said, called me like male form. And I was like, oops, I did it again. And now, since we live in Poland, learning Polish is quite
it's such a nasty
thing.
Terrible.
It's a horrible language.
It is.
But anyway, there are some similarities with the Russian language. But I made a mistake in thinking that the same word means the same thing. So you have the word divan, which in Russian means a couch. So if you have someone staying over, you can say, you can sleep on the couch, no problem.
Yeah.
So I said that to a Polish guy. Oh, if you need a place to stay, we have a couch, so you can stay on the couch. And he was looking at me quite shocked. Because the same word in Polish means a carpet.
Yeah.
So instead of offering him a couch to sleep on, I offered him a carpet to sleep on. So, yeah. And then, and another one, like if we need a taxi for anything, a lot of times the drivers are not Polish.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Get this. We don't have formal taxis here. 99% it's Uber.
Yeah.
It's Bolt. It's one of those platform share thingies. So you use your personal car as a taxi thingy.
Yeah.
However, Poland is not. It's not an expensive country. It's compared to the US, it's a pretty cheap country. And the guys who drive in Uber here are mostly not from Poland.
Mm-hmm.
They are from Belarus. They are from Ukraine. They are from any country but Poland.
Yeah.
The wages that they get are low. Slave labor doesn't exist. But in all honesty, if you figure out how much money they're making an hour, it's almost
shocking.
Shocking. Normally a taxi drive costs us $5 maybe. 10 is the really max.
Yeah, then you go to the other side of the city.
Yeah. So it's and you pay what you get, right?
Uh-huh.
So the cars we get are exciting, I guess. Is that the word?
Well, they're not the newest. Let's say it carefully.
Yeah. Let's try to be sensitive. So they're like the 10-year-old beater diesel 3-cylinder 1 liter, no power, Skoda whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say, well, I'm going to be annoyed by the cars they're driving, which the quality isn't that great. But what we did, we made it into some sort of game.
Yeah, we love games.
Yeah. We love games, definitely. So what we do, we have a point system.
Yep.
And for
the
instance...
more points, the better.
The better, the better the ride.
Yeah.
So if, for instance...
there is a light burning on the dashboard.
Yeah, one of those warning
light
lights.
is 1 point.
Yeah. ABS not working, 1 point.
Motor engine.
1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always on, actually.
Yeah. So you always have 1 point.
There's always an engine fault thingy.
Yeah.
Always. Airbag's not working. 1 point. So that's positive.
Completely normal.
So you could be annoyed that stuff like that isn't working, but in all honesty, what do you expect for $5? I mean, come on.
But that's not all.
No, it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
So you also get points for
any stuff that's hanging on the mirror.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what have we seen?
Candeliers.
We have seen shopping carts
in mini shopping
miniature. Holy Mary. The in Dutch it's the Rozenkrans, the prayer chain for a Catholic church.
Yeah.
Or just like 15 different kinds of perfume.
Yeah, that smelly stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it says like it's like pine tree, but it definitely is not pine tree. What it smells like. It smells like a chemical plant.
Yeah.
But that's also a point. So
and we had one with a duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a duck in a police uniform. Yeah. And we had one with a minion.
Yeah, with minions.
Yeah.
So those are also points.
Better. Yeah.
The other thing that we're also getting points for is weird noises in the car.
Yeah.
So if you're like, hey, I think the right front wheel is going to depart from the car, that's a point.
Yeah.
That's positive.
Yeah.
If you think like, the muffler has just left the building.
Some squeaks.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the natural gas tank that's in the back of the car that's making weird noises, like you're like, we're going to blow up. Those are points. Those are the best.
Or the malfunctions. The door doesn't really close.
Yep. Yeah,
also
perfect.
possible.
Yeah,
or
perfect.
the springs. How's it called?
Yeah,
in the seats.
like the cushions in the seats are completely done for.
Yeah. So you're going up and down like wild.
And the best points are actually if the driver is drunk or is almost hitting somebody Those are bonus
Those are
points.
bonus points.
Yeah, I only had it once.
I am glad I didn't have a drunk.
I only had it once.
I had one drunk driver, but
Yeah.
that was more than enough for me. You had one who almost hit a pedestrian.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he didn't hit him. Well, so
Yeah.
close but no cigar.
Yeah, but that's
It's-
still a point.
So it's stuff like that I mean, if you get a taxi driver like that, you can say, "Oh man, this was terrible. All the lights were on. It was a scary ride," and you'll just it's not your day, so to say. But if you can laugh at stuff like that, and you're like, "Hey man, this was an experience," it's the same taxi driver, but you go to bed way more relaxed.
Yeah,
Make a game out of it.
yeah.
That helps a lot. Oh man, those taxi drivers. They
And
are
as
fun.
well, the drivers are very often not from Poland. So when
Yep.
they're Polish, they don't get a point. But coming from another country than Poland, they
Yeah, that's
already
all-
get
yeah.
a 1 point.
Yeah.
And what we also try is to make a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Just say hello, how's your day? So I'm talking to this guy. He's from the Ukraine. He speaks Russian, so we can speak Russian together. Doesn't speak any English. And just ask, oh, how long have you been here? Oh, so and so long. And oh, how's your Polish coming along? That's always a good topic. And he's like, yeah. Like I said, oh, for me it's so difficult. And then I use my divan example,
Oh, yeah.
like, oh, then I say something stupid and people
Yeah.
are laughing and don't understand me. And this one driver, he starts telling me that he had the situation that this guy called him for a taxi, but he was waiting for a very big suitcase.
Oh yeah.
But his car was very small. And he was like, yeah, but that big suitcase doesn't fit in the car. Dus we have to go now. I cannot take this suitcase. And like this is in Polish, huh? So he
Yeah.
doesn't know his Polish so well. But the guy keeps telling, no, we have to wait. We have to
Yeah.
wait because
We have to wait
my
for the
suitcase
suitcase.
still has to come.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's weird. And why didn't you bring your suitcase first? But I mean, this
Yeah, what?
this very big suitcase, that's the word for it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fit in the car. So how does he think I will put this suitcase in the car? So he gets really stressed and worried. And then after 5 minutes, his girlfriend's coming. So here's my girlfriend. Oh.
Yeah, the word is
So the
or some
word for
sort
a
of-
big suitcase is very similar to the word girlfriend. Ah, okay. So let's go. So we were laughing out loud in the taxi.
Yeah,
Very funny.
I mean, and if you're in your mission team
Mhm.
and you can laugh about each other's experiences, about each other's jokes, about each other's mishaps,
Yeah. It helps so much.
it helps a lot. So yeah, that's one of the other things I would recommend to people.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be too shy. Tell what your mishap was today to your team member. Laugh about it.
Yeah.
It,
And
it-
you will also notice that you're not the only one.
Here's the thing. If you feel free to share this sort of stuff with your team members, you'll find out that everybody makes those silly mistakes.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
So it helps you to, well, at least you figure out, hey, I'm not crazy.
I am
This is normal.
Yeah, it's
This
normal.
is normal. Everybody goes through the same.
Yeah.
And it helps your team member to recognize the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe your team member doesn't know that this is normal.
Yeah.
And you can help your team member with telling jokes like this, that this is normal.
Yeah.
And it makes life so much easier on the mission field.
Yeah. Oh, I have one more. Can we do it?
Yeah, sure, feel free.
Okay, so I'm a missionary in Russia. My team member of my team leaders, there is a married couple from the UK. Well, UK and Dutch people are quite different in
Yeah.
how much you share and how open you are about certain things.
Yeah.
So I'm living in this house with a Russian girl. And we have upstairs neighbors and they have sex 4 times a night. So we were like, this is weird.
They were
I don't
busy.
think this is normal. Is it a prostitute or not? But hey, what do we know? Huh? We don't have boyfriends. We don't have sex. We have no idea.
And you were missionaries?
Maybe it's normal. And it happens again and again. And like it was above the bedroom of my roommate.
Oh,
so
great.
she was like, I can't sleep again. Ah. So at one time, we were like talking like, is this normal or not? Or
Yeah.
should we go there? Is she in trouble?
Yeah. Who
You have no
knows?
idea. Sometimes she was crying afterwards. And so
Okay.
that was something was going on which was not okay. But the only married couple I know there is this English couple. That's my team leaders.
Okay.
So what do I do with my blonde hair? I
A-
ask this
And you're
lady,
Dutch.
and I'm Dutch. So we have a team meeting. We have a relaxed time. The Korean girls, they cooked a very nice meal. So we have lunch. So I'm sitting aside with another girl and her, and I think this is my chance. Now everyone is talking with anyone, so I can now. There's only one girl, but she will manage, and I can now directly talk to my team leader.
Yeah. What to do with
female
this?
team leader.
Yeah.
What to think of this
How
situation
to handle it? Yeah.
and what to do with it or not to do anything. So the first thing I ask her, well, you're married. Can I ask you a personal question? And she's like, yeah, sure. So I was like, is it normal to have 4 or 5 times sex in one night? And she's like, what? So, oh my goodness. So the whole team is now silent.
Oh, they went silent.
They went silent.
All eyes on you.
They look at her. They look at me. I'm like, this was not the idea. The idea was to have this personal conversation. What did you just ask me? So she's completely like shocked. The whole team is like, what happened? What happened? What happened? Yeah, she just asked me if it's normal to have sex 4 or 5 times a
Let's get it
night.
out in the open.
So now the whole team knows. And I was like, but they don't know. Like, why am I asking this
What is
question?
the context?
Yes. So, okay, the team leader took some time, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes to calm down. So conversation started up again. And so I tried to explain why I asked a question. Well, this is the situation upstairs. There's something happening and we're not sure what it is and what it means and if it's even possible or not. And then I think an hour later, she sees me one-on-one and she says, max 2 times. More he cannot do. Definitely.
Perfect.
Oh my goodness me.
Man. Yeah, I mean, and those are the cultural differences.
Yeah.
I mean, we're Dutch. We are straightforward.
Oh my goodness, my face was red. Like, and the whole team knew what I asked. Oh
So
my
everybody
goodness.
thought that you wanted to have sex 4 times in the day, huh?
Well, I was interested. I was interested in something. If I ask if it's possible to do it 4 or 5 times in one night, I mean,
Yes, perfect. And this is a great example.
oh
If you
wow.
can laugh about stuff like this, it is great. If
Yeah.
you can share stories with your team members, please do.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like this does happen in a multicultural team.
Yeah.
This is actually quite normal that stuff like this does
Mhm.
happen. And if you can laugh about it, man.
Yeah. It taught me a lot about English culture.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Although you speak the language, doesn't mean you speak the language.
Exactly.
Those are
Exactly.
two totally different things.
Yeah.
Totally
You think that
different.
because you share the language, you share the same culture, but it's
No, you
not
don't.
like that at all.
Oh no, you
No.
don't.
But again, those mistakes make you remember them all the time. And you can come back to them and laugh at it again and again.
And that's the thing. Okay,
Yeah.
last one for me. Another one with the car. I mean, a lot of my
Oh, yeah.
mission goof ups were with cars.
Uh-huh. Young and wild.
Oh man, why they didn't kick me out? I still don't know. But okay, mission team. They had to pave the parking lot again,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a small pickup truck, Ford Ranger, 4-cylinder, 2-wheel drive. So it's one of those cars that would love to be a car, but it's actually not a. It's not a pickup.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small car that would love to be a pickup, but it just isn't.
Mm-hmm.
No air conditioner, no nothing. It was pretty beat up, but okay. So we had to park our cars not on the parking lot since that was going to be paved. We had to park it in somewhere on a lawn thingy. So one of my jobs was to open up the building in the morning and to close shop at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, it was already dark. I had checked if all the lights were off in the building,
Mm-hmm.
except a couple of lights that were there for security safety.
Yeah.
If the lights in the parking lot were still on. So I checked everything, walked back to my van, and well, my van was in the middle of some pasture thingy. It was dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know if I could just drive out of there, just straight forward or not. So I thought, well, let's back it up just a little bit and then drive forward again.
Yeah. Make
So-
a turn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make a turn. So I backed it up just a little bit, and then I heard bang at the tail end of my pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
And right after that, it said woof. And all the lights in the neighborhood went off.
The whole neighborhood. Oh my
The whole
goodness.
neighborhood. Not
What
just
did
our
you
not
do?
just our office, but the whole neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
Turns out that just behind my van was one of those little transformer boxes,
Uh-huh.
which I didn't see in the middle of the night.
Oh my goodness.
And I just
Martin.
bumped into that transformer thingy, and all the lights went off,
Mm-hmm.
as in dark
Uh-huh.
all around you.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yeah, great.
Let's get out of here.
Let's put it in drive, and I'm off.
Yeah. No idea what happened.
So the next morning, I drove up to our office, and there were those building van stuff thingies, and a couple of people were in the middle of that pasture and fixing stuff and
Yeah.
big
Who knows
trucks.
what happens? Like,
And I was like,
surprise.
la 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 la.
What are you doing here?
So I went to my colleague, and my colleague said, "Did you?" My colleague asked me,
Mm-hmm.
"Did you drive into the transformer last night?" I was like, "Yeah," and he just laughed his head off. And he was like, "Oh, great!" And we had a great time.
Oh,
He
that's
just
funny.
laughed. And he was like, "Yeah, great story, brother. Good job. Well done." And here's the thing. Because he made a joke out of it, it got way easier. It was like, okay, hey, things happen. Let's
Mhm.
fix this. And yeah, let's get it over with. And we just had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
If he would have responded very serious, brother, did you blah, 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 then would probably just shut off,
Mm-hmm.
go blank, flatline. That wouldn't have helped either.
Yeah.
But he was very relaxed. He was like, yeah, great for you. Let's take a couple of pictures. And that helps a lot if you're on the mission field.
Yeah.
A lot of
It
people on the mission field work as a missionary / relief worker thingy.
Mhm.
Most of the times it's a combination. So you work with people who are homeless. You work with refugees. You work with people who are not doing great at all.
Mhm.
And if that's your job, that's what you're working with. At least 8 hours a day, if you're lucky. That's what you're working with. At least 5 days a week, if you're lucky. Maybe it's even more hours a day or more days a week. And if that's gonna be your world, it's gonna be a tough one.
Mhm.
And if you can laugh about your silly mistakes, stories like this. I mean, we've got a gazillion stories like this.
Yeah.
So if you think that this is not normal, well,
Here you go.
here you go.
Prepare yourself for the ride.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a gazillion of those stories.
Uh-huh.
And in retrospect, those are the best.
Mm-hmm.
And in retrospect, if only somebody would have told me in the very beginning, hey, brother, this is what's going to happen. This is normal. Just laugh
Mhm.
about it. Get the t-shirt. It would have made life so much
Yeah.
easier.
And the other thing is to share it with your team members or with the expats you're there with.
Yeah.
They understand it. When you tell this at home, they
They don't have a clue.
pulled up their shoulders and they're like, okay.
They
They have no idea.
They even might try to blame you for stuff like that.
yeah. Yeah.
Don't you know that that's a cultural thing?
Yeah.
Well, if you haven't been abroad, if you haven't been somewhere that's a different language, different culture, if you haven't, I mean, our working days, there's not one day that's the same.
No.
Every day is different.
Yep.
So it's normal that stuff does happen.
Yeah.
People back home very often don't have a clue.
Mm-hmm.
They think that you've got some sort of regular Monday through Friday, 8 through 5, same day, same old. But it's not. It is so dynamic. And if you've got team members, they know that this is missionary life.
Yeah.
This is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they can laugh with you. They understand what you're doing. They speak the same language.
Yeah, and instead of having a very serious evening again about one topic, you're just like all your it's a blooper evening and you come home so much refreshed.
Yeah. So if you can laugh about it, please do so.
Mm-hmm.
It helps so much.
Yeah.
And well, that's it for today.
Yeah, and share your stories.
Oh yeah, please. Yeah, if you've got stories, give us a call, send us an email, send us a WhatsApp. We love to hear from them. The more, the better. And we're Dutch, so we won't be embarrassed by anything. And that being said, thank you all for listening. Please do like, subscribe, follow, or whatever. And hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about our work, please visit emmy.foundation. And remember the last words Jesus gave to you all, as we can read in Matthew 28 verse 20b, and surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age. No matter what happens, no matter how good or bad your days go, Jesus is with you. You can trust his promise, no matter what.